Happy Saturday. Thank you for waiting. Brian says fashionably late, or maybe not so fashionably late, because is it ever fashionable to be late? Yeah, so I'm looking at my shadows. It's very shadowy. Ugh, I'm not gonna get up and change the lights. Anyway, it's been quite a week, hasn't it? Oh my gosh. I mean, we're seeing that whole narrative play out, with the one that they've been pushing, like the Pentagon these past few years, and we saw that they were priming us for something. Now we're seeing the beginnings of it play out, but interestingly, play out in a way where they give themselves a back door so they could be like, we never said that. So we'll talk about that this week. A little bit of everything happening. Everybody pointing fingers. Ugh, I don't even know where to start. Okay. Anyway, let's see who's in the chat. We got Brian, Crypto Journeyman. We have Hex Force One. We have Ada. Thank you guys for being here. Hi ASD. What is that? Autism spectrum disorder? Is that an accusation? No, I know it's a typo. I'm just teasing. And no, I am not that. Sorry, I'm trying to button my my cuffs here, be all proper, my cufflinks. So yes, so oh, there we go. Yes, try again. Hi Ash. No, it's fine. I knew what you were getting at. I just had to have fun with that. So yeah, it's been quite a week, because it's funny because 2 Saturdays ago we talked about the hey Clintrons. Plenty of high strangeness around these days. They they sure are. And it's funny because we've also seen the narrative get flipped. So I'm also going to speak about that this week. The whole I guess now it's trendy to believe in aliens and UFOs. Now you're conspiracy theorists if you don't buy the government narrative. So it's very intriguing. Hey Crypto Compassion, nice to see you. So thank you guys for being here tonight. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago we had the spy balloon, the Chinese spy balloon, and or at least that's what we're told it was. That's the narrative they're going with. And even China, I guess, admitted it to them being like theirs, but not that it was a spy thing, just to like, it's a weather thing, leave it, whatever. All right. So I don't know, US, China in cahoots, who knows, whatever. Balloon, that's like old news at this point. Because then the week, so that I believe that was what, 2 Saturdays ago where we talked about that? And then last week, what is going on with my connection? Okay, bad connection tonight. So hey Tomas, nice to see you here tonight. Hey Drix. We'll be back for the replay with the replay. You're with your family. Oh, have a wonderful time with your family. Thanks for checking in with us. And I will see you in the replay. So, and then what did we talk about last week? I don't even remember. So we talked about we talked a little bit more about the spy balloon and the narrative and everything. And then what happens this weekend, except for this whole like, oh, our government has started shooting down unidentified crafts. Could mean anything, right? Unidentified could mean a bird that flies over. It doesn't mean aliens. But the interesting thing that was happening was our government and even the Canadian government, everybody who was involved in this they were giving a leading answer. So you know how you have a leading question? To me, this is a leading answer where they don't directly tell you something, but they heavily insinuate things by the way that they answer things. Right? We saw a lot of that this week. And then if you actually call them out on it, oh no, then you're a conspiracy theorist. So a lot of fighting happening that week with this. So, and then it wasn't just the one that was over Alaska. Then there was another one over Lake Huron. It was endless. And why does my camera keep going in and out and focusing? Sorry, I don't know how to fix that. So we're just going to have to deal with that tonight as is. I am stalling. Yeah, Wi-Fi. Yeah, I don't know what the heck. Yeah. I don't know. There was supposed to be a Wi-Fi upgrade that I chose not to pay for. Now I regret it. So at some point, but I don't know. Is that when somebody tells me to do something and I say no and I got to do the opposite? But you paid zero attention to the news media this week. So fill you in, please. Yes, this was the perfect week not to pay attention because we got a lot of leading answers. And the thing that I love about the government giving us leading answers is that they, oh, and hi, Peter. I'm sorry. I read your thing and I didn't get to say hi. Hi, Peter. So guys, if you, this is Peter Feliciano from Conservatish. We did a stream, was it last week already? If you guys want to catch it, that was a blast. Thank you for having me on, Peter. So yeah, so like I said, like leading answers where, and the wonderful thing about this, you can totally see what they're doing is that they lead you in a certain way. They cause a media hype, they cause a media panic, but they never say it so that they can back up and say, whoa, 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 we never said that. What are you talking about? Right? Is you read in between the lines. What did they call that? Deniability, so that they can deny it. And you had different people, and I'm forgetting the name of the guy, General something, the Air Force guy who controls the entire North American airspace, who was saying basically, he's like, we're not calling them balloons for a reason. And you know, regarding the fact of like whether they're aliens or not, he's like, I'm not ruling anything out at this moment, which is strange because you would think that would be an automatic no. Oh no, that's silly. Well, no aliens. We're good. This is not an alien thing. But interestingly, oh, I'm not ruling anything out. You know, this is our government that's lied to us for years about this phenomenon. Now they want us to believe it because it's convenient for them. So they're setting up a certain narrative. There's a priming happening. And when I said that on TikTok, gosh, TikTok is a toxic place, man. Because the nice thing about YouTube or YouTube Shorts, whatever, for the most part, even Twitter, you say something, people aren't into it, they scroll along. But for whatever reason, TikTok has got like this boomer mentality of even though it's not boomers, of I have to comment on everything I don't like it. I have to be insulting about it. So when I said priming, they're like, that's not priming. Oh, you're a nutso. You're this, you're that, you know. But clearly, as we've spoken about many times, and I believe we even spoke about last week, they've been priming this narrative for years. So we started what, 2018, 2019 with the Pentagon releasing this footage and finally admitting we don't know what these things are in our atmosphere. Here it is. Here they are. So we're calling them unidentified aerial phenomenon. So, but yes, we believe it's out of our world, possibly, and this and that. So they went from years of denying, years of cover-ups, to all of a sudden, you know, okay, here. Kind of seemed like they were guiding us in a certain direction, right? We knew something was on its way. Then all of a sudden you get this week of multiple unidentified objects that they're shooting down all of a sudden. And then interestingly, when they shoot these down, they're like, oh, we can't find them. So, okay, you shot something down over Lake Huron. That's pretty contained. You can't find it. And they lost one of the missiles in the process. They don't know where the $400,000 missile went. So talk about a lot of ineptness happening. So yeah, so for anybody that wasn't watching, multiple of these things were happening this week and they were guiding us to think in a certain way. And the interesting thing is, you know, used to be if you believed in the UFOs, you were a conspiracy theorist. Now, if you go, oh no, that's not UFOs. They're BSing us. Now you're the conspiracy theorist. I got called nut job a lot for saying no, it's not UFOs. It's government BS. Then I was the nut job. I love that. Complete conspiracy shift. But then on top of that, which was interesting because people were like, oh, no, they just mean unidentified. You don't know what unidentified means? Unidentified means they don't know what it is yet. I'm like, yes, I know what the word means. I speak English. Yeah. But I'm like, no. I'm like, are you so dense where you can't see the way they're guiding you with their answers, what they're pointing to? I mean, did you guys see when Senator Kennedy came out of that briefing? And I don't know, he made that joke. People were like, he looked a little concerned, but he's like, lock your doors. That's a weird joke to make. I mean, so people were just off the wall saying a lot of weird stuff. But hey, Tin Top. So Sleepy Joe, shut shot down all those poor science club middle school kid balloons. Yeah, and on top of that, and then they pretended that they were aliens, but then but acted like they weren't really saying that, but they let us run around thinking it was aliens. So you have our country looking at the shiny object. And didn't General Milley retire and say on one of his retirement tweets this week, don't get distracted by shiny objects? But okay, so that went on, and we had all the coverage of this stupid BS UFO balloon unidentified thing. And then we had that whole derailment in Ohio, right? Huge environmental disaster. And people are like comparing it to Chernobyl, and everybody's fighting, saying it's not like Chernobyl. But okay, the idea, they're just saying the scale of the environmental disaster. It's clearly not radioactive material. But for anybody that wasn't aware, because you were avoiding the news, understandably, I do not want to go anywhere near the news. Twitter keeps me abreast of the happenings. So while the news was focusing on all the shiny objects in the sky, interestingly, the one above Lake Huron, they're claiming was an octagon. Wouldn't it have been better if it was a hexagon? But anyway, train derails Northwest Ohio over in East Palestine, Ohio. Massive chemical spill of vinyl chloride. And then I don't know who it was, the EPA, I don't know, one of these government organizations decides, let's burn it all off. Creates giant airborne toxic event happening, massive burn off. All the environmentalists are quiet about it. And then you had a lot of local animals dying off. And you remember back in the day when they used to bring canaries into coal mines because if the animals are dying, then there's something wrong with the air. Well, people's chickens started dying. There was like a fox rescue. The foxes were dying. People were letting their dogs out into the yard. The dogs weren't coming back, and they would find the dog either choking or dead. Meanwhile, the government was like, oh no, the water's safe to drink and the air is safe. I mean, there was an evacuation, but then they're like, it's safe. But people are like, my lungs are burning, I'm coughing, I'm having asthmatic reaction, my animals are dying. But they're like, no, it's safe. Even Governor DeWine is like, no, the water's safe. And people are like, well, why don't you come up there and drink the water? There's footage of the streams. The fish are all dead in it. And the scary thing about this area is this whole, like, I don't want to say watershed area, but just the water flow eventually hits the Ohio River, which goes into Mississippi River, which hits the Gulf. And we're already seeing like mass die-offs of the fish population up in northern Ohio. And they're saying 60-something days until it hits the Gulf. So that's scary and concerning. Again, environmentalists are quiet, and they're telling everybody everything is safe. You're drinking water safe. People are finding weird things happening to the water that they cook with and drink their coffee with. People are showing the streams look rainbow colored, kind of like, those oil slicks under a car, under an old leaking car. I saw this video where it was the news, and they were pretty ticked off about it. They're like, look, they threw a rock in the water, and the water started bubbling. So really, really creepy stuff happening, but minimal coverage of it because they want us to focus on the shiny objects instead. And let me check the comments, but have some thoughts on this. Hexforce 1 says Trump announces he's going to Ohio, and then FEMA does an about face and decides to help after all. Oh, I didn't hear that. That's very intriguing, because I guess they're afraid of looking like the bad guys once Trump points out what's going on. Here's the thing. I'm not super into him. I don't trust him, especially because he pushed some pharmaceuticals and everything. But hey, if it gets them help and it gets them attention, go for it. Hey, Hex Glenn. Am I saying it's safe in the desert? I don't think it's safe anywhere south of Ohio right now. But, I mean... Oh, because there was that. Well, here's what's interesting, and this is what I'm going to say about the desert. Okay, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, bad burned. It's bad in the groundwater. It's bad everywhere, and they released a massive amount of it by burning it. You would think they would try to contain it somehow. Whatever's left in the containers. What? Why would you take vinyl chloride and burn it off? But what was interesting is all of a sudden you saw people jumping all over each other on Twitter, being like, "It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Vinyl chloride's not bad. It's not toxic. It'll go away easy." People just like attacking you. I had this guy who was just like obsessively replying to me even a day later about it on Twitter, and then replying to my other tweets, downplaying everything. And it was like, are you getting paid to pretend like this is normal? Like people were obsessive about like, I don't know, debunking the fact that this happened or saying that it's safe and it's fine. It was weird. It's like, what stake do you have in it? I'm like, you're defending it as if you're against, you don't get what I just said. Then again, I hate this. Okay, can you guys hear me? Hold on, just resetting. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, this guy's like fighting with me, and I'm like, you defend it like you own it or something. And he's like, and then he takes it seriously. He takes that literally what I said. I'm like, are these like, I don't know, paid idiots like to defend it? But you know what? People are that dumb. It's really insane. He's like, yeah, I don't work for it. Oh, or maybe I do. Like, no, I'm like saying that you're behaving like like you have a stake in defending this company. So that happens. Not to mention the whole weirdness of the white noise movie. So for anyone who's not familiar with white noise, I don't know, maybe I've mentioned it on the stream in the past, but white noise was a 1980s novel by Don DeLillo. Had to read it in our American Studies class in college, but I went to an academically rigorous school, so I tried to cut corners on the work where I could to save time, and I didn't read that one. But I had gotten interested in it again right around lockdown because the like one of the big themes in this book was there was an airborne toxic event that happened, but is it real or is it hype? We're not witnessing it. Is it deception? So that was kind of like the one of the themes in the book. So they recently finally made a movie out of it with like Adam Driver and I forget who else. And I think it was a Netflix movie. Interestingly, so it's about an airborne toxic event happening. They filmed it in East Palestine, Ohio. And then now an airborne toxic event happened in East Palestine, Ohio. I mean, I'm not saying it's related, but it's kind of weird. I mean, is this another one of those predictive programming examples? I don't know. But and then you start to wonder, is it coordinated? So this guy who was obsessively defending this whole airborne toxic event on Twitter was like, well, there's 4 derailments a day. We have 1,000 a year. Derailments are normal. This, that. But it's weird because since yes, I get that it happens. I get that our infrastructure sucks in certain areas. Our train system in the United States is very disappointing. But yeah, we never have really toxic spills constantly. Especially what was interesting was you had that happen, and then shortly after you had a toxic spill happen in I think a toxic derailment happened in Houston, and then there was something in one of the Carolinas, and then a truck tipped over in Arizona. Spilling out a ton of nitric acid, and people had to stay away from it. I think it was around Tucson, and you look at it and you're like, is this coordinated or is this a dry run for something that's supposed to happen? Because if you see that Ohio contaminates pretty much the groundwater, the majority of the South, the way that the underground aquifers work, and the way the Mississippi and I was about to say Gulf breeze, and the Gulf of Mexico work, and then you you're hitting up coastal Carolina, then you're hitting up Houston, and then you're kind of getting the desert. Okay, that was on a smaller scale. The nitric acid spill wasn't as big, but you kind of wonder if somebody's testing the waters. What's going on here? Is you kind of end up hitting a bunch of the United States. And a lot of that toxic burn off went up into Canada, like in some of the most populated regions of Canada, because the way Canada works is majority of population is condensed into a small area, and it just like completely smoked them out up there. So really strange. Tin Top says, move along, nothing to see here, everything's okay, cool and normal, right? Exactly. That's what they're doing, and that's what they want us to act like. And here's the thing, people are so blind, and I don't know, dense, but not even. It's this intentional, I guess, fluoride. They're fluoridated. Their brains don't work anymore, where everybody just completely acts like this is completely normal. Weird. Wasn't there a similar movie last year on Netflix? Oh, okay, sorry. I guess this is old. Already talked about it. Yeah, so White Noise, actually, yeah, sorry, end of last year on Netflix. Yeah, I guess internet issues tonight. So the vinyl chloride is a reactive oxidizer. Their story is that if they had let the cloud drift and expand, it could potentially be like an explosion in Hiroshima. Okay. I'm not, I'm not super familiar about chemical properties, but if they let it drift, it would be like an explosion like Hiroshima. Then why were they allowed to carry an amount like that without maybe certain protocols in place? I'm not disagreeing, but I'm just like, well, there should have been better protocols in place, right? That would make the most sense. But of course, nothing makes sense. Our transportation secretary is more interested in, I don't know, buying children or something. I think they're just trying to hit all the corners of the United States so that nowhere is safe. Toxic spills are good for the soul. Pay no mind to your third and fourth arm. Yeah, right? That's going to be the next. Yeah, exactly. It's all good. You know what? They're going to tell us that this is the next stage of evolution. You want that third and fourth arm. This is going to, the octopus thing is going to be in. The movies were dry runs. Now it's the dress rehearsal. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I like the way you put that, because it almost feels like it's testing the waters. Okay, let's see if we had a release here, because that was all within a small amount of time. So it's like seeing like let's hit up all these different areas. So yeah, I'm still wrapping my head around this garbage. These people, man, criminals. Ontario, and the freezing rain we got won't melt despite temperatures going above freezing today. Oh man, that's disturbing. And that's just like that map I looked at, where it was going up into like Ontario and forgive me, I used to be way better with all the different states and regions, of Canada. But yeah, the way I was looking at it, it was flowing over Toronto and Montreal and that whole area. And I'm like, you're hitting some of the most major population centers of Canada. It almost seemed intentional. So you contaminate everything below, but you hit up Canada too in the process. It's and then in the process, you're getting certain places of Western New York, which is supposed to be great farmland too. So you're poisoning the water, you're poisoning the farmland, you're poisoning major population centers. Yeah, perfect test run for what's going on. This is wild. I heard people talking about other things, like my car has like an oil slick on it, and what's going on here. I'm far away, but that's creepy stuff, man. But don't they? But what I don't understand about this is, do they think people are just going to ignore this, or do they think or are people just not paying attention because people are so blinded? You know what I mean? Like something like this should be so obvious. The entire region should be in a panic. But I don't know if people just become so zombified that nobody's, I don't know. Nobody's noticing. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around these people because they're so evil. The controlled burn-off was 4 to 5 times larger than they modeled and expected. Oops. Yeah, conveniently. So it's like intentional or ineptitude. Could be either one. Or is it like intentional from the top down. So they utilize the inept people so the inept people can make things worse, right? Oh, yeah. So almost at 6 cents. It's looking really good. So the world might be burning, but we're doing all right, right? No, but honestly, it's cheesy to use the word matrix, but like, to break out of that financial matrix that they have us in, it's like you need money. It's like this paradox, right? So let's get our gains so that we can break free. Gotta make money to break free. Hey, T-Bird. Oh my gosh. Wait, did it just hit 6? Remember it was like at 6 like an hour or two ago? So, okay, but you know what? We've been really steady. We've been constant. It's really nice. Steve Budapest said it's Trump's deregulation fault. But Steve, you were appointed head of transportation and said nothing. How's this Trump's fault? Right? He's always the fall guy. He's the scapegoat. And like I said, I'm not too pleased with him, but he was better than a lot of other people. But I mean, do I think he's part of the powers that be in the elite? Yeah, I'm sure he's tied into them and that he's a puppet too, because all elections are fake. I heard somebody online call elections a placebo. They're like, go ahead and vote if you like placebos. Like, that was so great. Okay, let's get there to 6 cents. I am excited. I am looking forward to that. So we had that happen. Gosh, I felt like there was something else. See, I used to make notes. I should make notes, but there was more. So we talked about white noise. We talked about the these toxic spills. We talked about the stupid UFO narrative, which I think they're backtracking on. They're like, yeah, it was it was a commercial balloon, or it was this and it was that. Yeah, so they have the deniability. But what the heck was up with Senator Kennedy being like, lock your doors? It's a weird thing to say. People say he seemed a little disturbed, by what he was saying. So there's clearly something going on. And, a lot of people are talking Project Bluebeam, because it seems like we've been set up for Project Bluebeam for a while. But, other people had pointed out, well, too many people know about Project Bluebeam. So maybe Project Bluebeam in and of itself is a psyop. Because why would they have something so obvious and out in the open where everybody knows about it? So maybe they want us to think something is Project Bluebeam and it's not. And it's so funny because when it comes to rabbit holes, one rabbit hole leads to another. You can't get obsessed with them. You can't focus on them. And I think and I'm not saying we do, but some people like get a little too into it and just become obsessed, and you can't, because you never know what's true and what's not. So you kind of just take it as a grain of salt, but it's nice to be just aware of what's going on and not be completely blind to everything. Lock your doors because they're giving news that will make people go crazy. Oh my gosh, yeah. Can you imagine if they said, yeah, it really is aliens? I mean, people, I think, will start losing their minds completely. Yeah, but it's also funny because it's like, people were joking saying, okay, let's say they're interstellar and they travel all this time with this technology. Let's just say, they're like, yet they're gonna get taken down by this Earth tech that's antiquated compared to theirs, right? They come all this way just to get taken down by a $400,000 missile, and it's the same thing with lock your doors. Yeah, no, they come and abduct people out of their houses, but yeah, locking your doors is going to keep them out. No, we got to lock our doors to keep government out. Voting is a hot button topic. No matter who the president is, you still have to work, pay your bills, make your own sandwiches. So why do we get all bent? Yeah, honestly, people are talking about this next election. I'm like, I don't even care. I have no interest. The only reason I vote is because maybe it'll help some local things. Maybe we can, do some stuff locally because yeah, people view New York as a whole being a certain way, but on it's more red on a local level, so you do have a little more power in your vote locally sometimes. But last year it seemed useless. But yeah, I vote locally just in case local works. But everything else is such a joke. It's such theater, yeah. And nothing ever changes for us. But yet, like trained monkeys, we all go back to the ballot box, and it's like Pavlov's dog, but with like no treat actually for us. rabbit hole matrix. Yeah, it really is what it is. They want us to get lost in these rabbit holes so that we're distracted and fighting with each other. Just like, yeah, online on Twitter, it's ticked me off so much lately. I see so much of the Catholicism versus Protestantism. And it's just like, it's so gross. And sometimes I want to respond to something, but sometimes I'm like, gosh, people are so hateful. But I'm like, we're on the same team. So why don't we get it together and just kind of unify? We worship the same God. So yeah, we just worship the same God differently. And, we both look at each other as having some major doctrinal issues, some pagan issues, whatever it may be. But that's, but we're on the same team and we worship the same God. We both love Jesus. So I'm like, why are we fighting? Yeah, clearly we don't agree with each other. But I don't even agree. I'm Protestant and I don't even agree with modern Protestants. All right. I'm more like an 1800s Protestant in my Protestant beliefs. But yeah, but again, it comes back to that same thing, like with the psyops and with the different beliefs and with the rabbit holes. They want us fighting so that we're distracted. It's really terrible. That name sounds familiar. Is that a rapper? Advanced ET craft would never get taken down by our tech, assuming our tech is far less advanced than what we're told. What did they say? We're usually like, what we're shown is 50 years behind what's available. But like, honestly, like if you come from the view that that's fallen angel technology, that's Nephilim stuff, I'm like, okay, so it would be. So it has the potential to be shot down or whatever, but really that tech, no, we're not going to be able to really take it down. No, absolutely not. Stuff's way too advanced. Yeah, exactly. There you go. The duck hole matrix. Yep. Oh, there you go. But apparently, I guess we like punishment. It's some sort of, some sort of, I'm going to figure out, it's going to say something, but I'm like, it's going to be interpreted badly. So let me just leave it. Gosh, I have something in my eye. Sorry. So I'm like, it's bothering me. Yeah, there we go. The duck hole. Okay, so he was a rapper. Yeah, I don't know much about the rappers, but I know that in hip hop, there's a lot of people who do know something's up and try to bring some attention to it, and then you got people that are like completely in it. So there's this interesting dynamic that happens in rap or hip hop. It's really really intriguing, but I mean, weird the way Coolio died. Makes you wonder if there's an equivalent of trailer park aliens flying in adequate aircraft. It's like Cousin Randy, right? From not Cousin Randy, Cousin Eddie. I'm sorry, played by Randy Quaid. Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation, right? There's a Cousin Eddie of aliens flying around over there, the trailer park aliens. Gosh, I don't know. But it's wild what went on in 1 week. But also, like, when you start talking about it or you start pointing things out, like how attacked you get, that people just can't handle. They can't handle something outside of the main narrative. They can't handle somebody challenging the narrative. And what's interesting, and somebody had commented something along these lines in my comments of one of the short videos I had reposted from TikTok. It was Sage, who said basically like, oh, shoot, I wish I had the exact quote on me, but they want people to think that they're, that they're basically, they know how to go after conspiracy minded people and then feed them this info so that you think you're really following along with conspiracy. Meanwhile, you're playing into what exactly they want you to think. They know how to grab that audience and they know how to play along with it. So all these people fighting me on TikTok think that they're so conspiratorial and smart and this and that, but really they're being played. They're being played because the government knows how to feed into their narrative. And the second you try to change that, you shift that view a little, they can't handle it. People cannot handle their views being shifted. America is a Christian nation, but the country is run mostly by people who hate Jesus. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. For sure. Our country is certainly run by people who hate Jesus. But now I sometimes wonder, like, yes, it was founded on those principles. And yes, because that's what the people were like, and that's what the people wanted. But sometimes I wonder about our founders. I mean, they were like some pretty serious occultists. So it's interesting. It's weird when you start digging into it. But yeah, like people are like, America's not a Christian nation. Well, it was founded on those values. It was founded on a lot of religious freedom principles. Like look at the pilgrims when they came here, that was for religious freedom. They were trying to escape persecution in oh, I forget which country that was. Because they were in some because they were yes, I know they were English, but they were fleeing some Northern European country at one point. I forget. But yeah, no, so it's definitely founded on those principles. But man, some of those founders though were a little shady. I feel like they were taking the fact that that's what people want and they were kind of using it against everyone. But no, all in all, I do agree. It is a Christian nation. It is founded on biblical principles, and the people in power hate Jesus. They hate faith 100%, and they're dark themselves. And then, going back to the whole way of how it was founded versus now, I also kind of look at it as like the original America. The original intent is dead, and it's been replaced by this fake version of America that's pretending it's the other version. So we're I don't know, even our country's strange. And just because it was founded on Christian principles doesn't make it invincible to falling, because it could fall just like any other nation, especially where it says in Chronicles in the Bible, if my people who are called by my name will turn from their sins and repent. I'm getting the words wrong, but this is the gist. I'll heal their nation, I'll heal their land, or I'll forgive their nation and heal their land. It's a really powerful verse, and it's like, you know what, we're not immune to being destroyed as a nation just because we were founded with biblical principles. And I'm not saying that that you disagree. I'm sure you agree with that point, because you know what, if the people completely turn their backs on God, then we're going to face judgment. We're going to face the consequences. And I feel like we're already facing those consequences. I heard it somewhere where somebody was talking about that America is a reprobate nation, that at this point God's removed his blessing. There's a belief, because we've turned our back on God so much, that God has just removed his blessing and protection basically from us, and that whatever happens and I think that's a possibility. Like we're not invincible to that. If that's what our country does, then you know what, like that's going to be the justice, that's going to be our punishment. Yeah, Randy. Anyone else think it'd be funny to have Ed Bassmaster interview Sleepy Joe as his Mumbles character? I don't know who Ed Bassmaster is. But so, any thoughts on everything happening? Hypocrisy in full effect. Fleeing persecution while killing anyone holding an opposite belief system. Who, the Pilgrims? The Pilgrims didn't kill anybody. They were like the only people that had like the longest lasting peace treaty in our country's history. So the version that gets taught about Plymouth is this fake warped version. I've visited Plymouth and talked to the historians. So it's a really, really incredible story, like the real story of the Pilgrims. If that's who you're referring to, Bobby Axelrod, we're gonna have to talk about this. Oh, we should talk about the Pilgrims one time on the show, because people are like, oh, Thanksgiving and evil and killing the Native Americans, and I don't deny that there were injustices done, but they wasn't the Pilgrims. Pilgrims, Thanksgiving, completely different story. Now you just stirring the pot. Okay, good. Yeah, I was a little surprised. I'm like, Bobby, you should know this. You should know that. Oh gosh, but if anyone is ever in Plymouth, the Jenny Museum is an incredible place to visit that is actually showing the real history and explaining the real history of the Pilgrims and the founding that happened, our forefathers. These people's loyalties with another nation, dragged into wars in the Middle East for the sake of our greatest ally. Oh gosh. Yeah. All these endless wars. I'm like, what is the purpose? And how are they justifying these things? It's really like when you step back and look at it, because like I always kind of just took the approach of there must be a reason. They wouldn't do this without a reason. Oh, then I came to open my eyes and realize, oh no, they would do this for no reason. It is all about profit. It is all about power. Um, and everybody's in on it. All the allies and everything. It's really it's really worked. It's gross. And then all this forget all the stuff going on in Europe. I won't even broach that. The pendulum will swing back from extreme liberalism to extreme conservatism. Um, yeah, I guess that's the way it goes, but it just feels different now. It feels very odd. But I guess, sometimes it's more like a reset. Yeah, I guess it just happens more violently and more crazy in some ways than another. But yeah, I mean, it does seem like we are swinging back one way towards another, because as things get more extreme on one end, everybody runs toward the other end until it becomes more extreme. No, it's true. It's just like they talk about clothing styles. It's like a swinging of the pendulum. Pants length and skirt length. So hold on a second. Okay. Sorry. I heard a notification. I thought, but I don't know what was happening. Anyway. And I wonder, like, if this all happened in 1 week, what's gonna happen next week? I don't does it just feel like things are unraveling very, very quickly? Because and it's in I don't know. It's is it unraveling? Are they showing their cards? Are they losing control? Who knows what's going on? But I just feel like a lot happened in 1 week. I'm like, what's going to happen next week? Because things don't seem to calm down. They only seem to get weirder and weirder and weirder. Now they're tapping my Mac. Are you gonna? Is the next statement gonna be because Macs suck? Yeah, I was thinking about that today. I'm like, Macs suck. Oh, they're cracked up to be. Oh, version 3. I know, right? The Pulse private testnet version 3 launched today. So I wonder how soon until the public. That's exciting. So we can all escape from this financial matrix. Needs a reboot. Funny. Hey, John. Get ready for the fake alien invasion. I know, right? They're priming us for the fake alien invasion, and for the second coming of the woke Christ, right? They're gonna fake that second coming. Or some people are like, maybe Project Bluebeam is a psyop in of itself to throw people off. So then I'm like, wait, so that when the real second coming happens, everybody's gonna think it's Project Bluebeam? Like they're messing with us. No, on every in every degree, but. But here's the thing: like, let's say Project Bluebeam does happen, and they fake this alien invasion. I'm like, do you really put it past them not to then fake the second coming and then give us this woke Christ who's like, please give up your cars and give up this and get that mark on your forehead. So yeah, some evil people rule the world. Half of Oregon annexed by Idaho. Texas succession Texas. Is that what you're predicting for next week? Is that next week's predictions? Combination of them losing control and them going more draconian. I can't wait for Bluebeam. Yeah, I saw a really interesting video that was that said that these people in power are narcissists, and the more they feel like they're losing control, the more extreme everything gets. And that's what we're seeing, them losing control. I'm like, seems optimistic that they're losing control. I don't think those elites will lose control, but I'm like, okay. but yeah, but their underlings, though, I could definitely see are getting more draconian as they lose control. Yeah, because there's less power with those. Those are the disposable people. Speaking of hacking, I was playing a game the other day and this guy got hacked mid-game. The hacker put all his computer credentials in the chat and his address. That's so weird. How does this stuff happen? I'm really careful with things, and somebody got it to my Facebook yesterday or the day before. It was odd. I have no idea how that happened, how that's possible. Fixed it right away because thankfully, most apps give you a heads up now, but I'm like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm really careful with that type of stuff. So the divide of the states look more probable every day, but could it actually happen? Because I know, like, in theory, we're supposed to be able to secede, but wasn't something put in place after the Civil War to actually prevent that from happening? I don't know. But I mean, we'd probably be better off. Yeah, it would weaken us, but we seem pretty weak at the moment. So how much worse can things get? Crazy. Hacking happens due to bad code, the same way potholes happen due to bad construction. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, okay, so then it could be on their end, because I was like wondering. I'm like, did something get leaked? Because I don't understand how how that even happened. But but they didn't even do anything when they logged in. I checked all the activity, unless they deleted their activity after the fact. I mean, I caught it within 10 minutes, but it's weird. Everything's weird. I don't even use Facebook that much. So just use it for minimal stuff every once in a while. But yeah, thought you were going to blame it on my Mac. Okay. You see, I didn't know that. I thought, like, that people typed something into a fake website or this or that. And I was puzzled because I'm like, that's something old people fall for. I'm like, and plus I have not logged in on anything lately, in a way that I, in a new website or new browser or whatever. Okay. So now I get that. So yeah, I can't think of what else to talk about besides, because I guess I was doing some of this on TikTok and I'm all talked out, but gosh, I know I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. Why are people so toxic on TikTok? Like, I spend time on Twitter too, and people are fine there. People are pretty okay on YouTube, but TikTok is just another story. I'm in danger. Why did they just finish a stream? Or because we're talking about secession? I don't believe secession ever will happen, but but it's okay. But everybody's allowed their opinion. They're entitled to their opinion. Weird. Blame it on Trump. Everything is the orange man's fault. I know. You know what? Yeah. My Facebook got hacked because of Trump. My hair is annoying me currently because of Trump. My chair is squeaking because of Trump. It's a good scapegoat. Yeah. So I think I'm out of stuff to say. Sorry, it wasn't too much, it wasn't too interesting. It was just like it was like one of those, like, let's all rant together for everything that happened this week. Hey, Hexkin Contractor. The hot topics you missed, we talked about the unidentified objects being shot down that they want us to think are aliens. They seem to really be milking that narrative without actually saying it so that they can back up and go, we never said that. So identified objects. Also, side note, I didn't mention this before. Isn't it interesting that they went from UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, to now UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomenon? Not that it means anything. But so we talked about that. We talked about look at the shiny object. Everybody go look at the UFOs. Well, we have a toxic toxic airborne toxic event happening in Ohio that's affecting everywhere. It looks like it's going to all go down south. It's going to contaminate the water systems. Ohio has some of the most fertile farmland in the United States, so it's going to, I'm sure, mess that up. A lot of that air toxins went into Canada. So we talked about that. And we also talked about the idea of this being a test run because yes, this is bad, but all the other spills that happened throughout the country right after that, it seemed like they were kind of measuring reaction and how they should like organize this. So yeah, I think those were the topics mainly that we talked about. What about Santos? Talking about DeSantis. Soros. Okay. I had no idea. I wasn't aware that he did that. I don't like DeSantis, but I don't like anyone because I don't trust him. I mean, I wish he was real, but like real in the sense that I don't know, that he wasn't a puppet, but I feel like he's another puppet. I wish there was an alternative to Biden, but voting being placebo, being fake, being like that elevator button, the closed door button, it's not actually hooked up most of the time. It's just so you wait patiently thinking you're doing something, kind of like a lot of those street crossing signs. So because he pushed pharmaceuticals too. Anytime somebody pushes pharmaceuticals, makes me go, yeah, just like Kristi Noem didn't protect people against mandates. Once people start doing weird stuff, it makes me second guess these people. So, but no, I wasn't aware that Soros talked about DeSantis. But, what other options do we have if we want to pretend to vote and pretend it's real? Man, confusing world we live in. Exactly. Toxic. Yep. It is certainly toxic. And the thing is, when people don't have anything to say, they just outright attack your appearance. Like, they say, yeah. I'm like, it's kind of weird. And then, yeah. I can't even, I don't get that. And not that I'm offended, but I'm like, I guess that's what people do when they don't have, any good argument. Like, it's just such a weird way to argue. It reminds me of like the way kids argue. Yeah, it's weird. And supposedly the reason that they changed the acronym is because you have USOs, unidentified submerged objects, and you have UFOs, unidentified flying objects. So aerial would just be the UFOs, but now anomalous phenomenon would include the USOs and the transmedium objects that can go between the flying and between being submerged. But yeah, but it's interesting that, because I'm always suspicious of everything these people try to do. Yeah, I think that's a good way. And I'm like, I shouldn't even be on TikTok because it's like a Chinese weapon, but it's an interesting way to, I don't know, to get some ideas out and talk with people. I mean, discuss it with people. As far last I heard that they still didn't find it. I'm like, how does a missile go missing? Or did some is this a not populated area? So did you get some backwoods militia people who are like, oh cool, free missile? And then it'll end up something interesting will end up happening with it. No, but as far as I heard, they haven't found that missile. I'm like, how do you lose a missile? Is this just an excuse so that they can make up for the fact that a missile's missing off a roster and it went to some sort of bad organization? Or is this the ineptitude that they've lowered the standards for the military and that people can't do what their jobs are? I don't know. Do you think Carrie Lake will run with Trump? I don't think so, because she's still really fighting that Arizona thing. So, because then I feel like that'll look like a concession if she goes, never mind, and then runs with Trump, I mean, that's just my gut feeling. Hey, toxic hex hog. No, you're the good kind of toxic, but not the Chinese weaponized toxic. If voting made a difference, they wouldn't let us do it. There you go. Yep. That's such a great quote from Mr. Samuel Clemens. Someone please explain to me why we can't solve the problems with the industrial military complex instead of causing them. The politicians can still abuse the system and get rich, and we could stop harm. Yeah, because right, so you're saying they don't need the military industrial complex to do their evil. But then I feel like it's like the strong arm of them. That's their physical body that they can enforce their things with, and get on their side because the military isn't what it used to be. It's been purged a lot. So people are like, oh, military people would never turn on the population. Yeah, I'm sure there are lots of good people that wouldn't, but they've purged a lot of free thinkers. And they've lowered the standards to let a lot of people in. So I'm like, maybe that's so they can intentionally let people in who would turn on the people. So I feel like they do need it as like their strong arm. The governor of Arkansas banned TikTok because it's CCP. Did that actually happen? I thought they were just talking about it. Oh, is that Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Oh no, maybe no, she wouldn't be running yet. That was gonna be my guess. No, but I heard in the future she might be. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, she wouldn't be bad, but then this feels like fantasy football, right? Where people are like speculating on these things that I don't know how fantasy football works, but I'm guessing it's all fake and you make it up and you make your football teams up. So speculating on candidates to me feels like fantasy football because it's all the not real. 8369 had to pop in for a moment. Can't stay. Much respect. Have a great night. Well, thank you for popping in. I appreciate that. Oh, and thank you for catching the replay. And I hope I caught you, but in time before you left. I bet that missing missile is more common than they tell us. Oh, I am sure. 100%. Where's that missile? It's probably in the Ukraine by now. Who knows if they even fired the missile? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Is that so they can just account for something that went missing? They're just going to BS and say they fired it? But let's go with the fanfic that I have in my head. That some backwoods militia has it, and that they're like, I don't know, using it to power their compound or something. Hey, get Hex, Anita. I was gonna read that as Danita. Sorry, I was a little far from here. Hey, thank you for popping in to say hi. I appreciate it. You are at the beach. Oh my gosh. You are very fortunate to be at the beach. I would like to be in a beach in the sun. I keep thinking about how I can't wait. I mean, we've had a pretty mild winter, but I can't wait until I can go just bake in the sun. Cause okay, maybe that's a different topic for a different time. But yeah, I don't believe baking in the sun is a bad thing. I'm not saying getting baked in the sun, baking in the sun. Two different things. I know I may look pale and fair, I am, but thankfully I don't burn stuff. Or, it takes a lot for me to burn. Yeah, no seed oils. Thankfully, for the most part, they've never really been a part of my diet. So maybe, just here and there. So maybe that's why I don't burn that much. Though it could be partially genetics. My mother's Mediterranean. So I don't have olive Mediterranean skin. I have, the fair Scots Irish, that region of the world skin, but somehow mixed in that, I got the genetics to not fry every time I go out into the sun, which I am very grateful for. Watch that scene from JFK where Mr. X, Donald Sutherland, explains the military-industrial complex's purpose: endless war for profit and control of the massive. Tundia or Tunda? Jim Harrison, Kevin Costner. I've never seen JFK, but it's interesting because, speaking of the military industrial complex, I think X-Files also makes a reference to that same thing, the endless wars for profit and the masses. So it's like they've constantly been dropping hints for us. Again, is that predictive programming? Is that for their, what they imagine to be their good karma, that they're telling us this stuff? Yeah. Oh, it's interesting. I've never seen that movie, but now I'm intrigued. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the new governor of Arkansas. Yeah, and I've heard good things about her. like I said, sometimes speculating on government people and candidates reminds me of fantasy football. But you know what? On a local level, I think it's a little more real. So look, she's on a local level and she's on a state level. So I like to think she's a good person. Vitamin D for the win. I love that real natural vitamin D. The good stuff. Yeah, like I don't trust a lot of people. There's very few politicians that I think aren't, in the bad are in with the bad people, but she's one of the ones I think are some of the good people. And and there's a couple of others um that I'm quite fond of. Though and am I gonna get myself somehow like banned or shadow banned even further if I say their names out loud? But I like those ones that heckle people in the State of the Union. People like, oh, how dare they? This is a respectable place. How dare they do the heckling? And meanwhile, it was all cool, and Nancy Pelosi was ripping up stuff right behind the president. That's all fine and dandy. But the thing is, it's like people are acting like that's such an insult. Like, is there anywhere as unserious as the US government? So anywhere as unserious, this place is unserious already. So they're just following protocol. I think Tulsi Gabbard and Trump, oh my gosh, they hate her so much. And I don't completely trust her. I think she's, one of the bad people, but it would be funny. Oh my gosh. They really like froth at the mouth over her. Governor Sanders wasted no time after being sworn in last Tuesday. She signed a number of executive orders, including one banned TikTok on all government devices. Oh, she's just going for it, isn't she? Oh, that's awesome. Hey, Thoughts Child. Long time no see. Hope you're good. So you saw Sarah speak live in Phoenix. Oh, that must have been really cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh. 100%. Yeah, we were discussing that before. And I'm like, is this like a dry run? It's interesting because I think they could do a lot worse with it. The ways that it was staged. And Brian's like, no, I think it's actually a dress rehearsal. And you know what? I agree with that. It's true. This is they're practicing. And what was interesting about was the location of these intentional derailments. So Northeast Ohio, you poison the water all the way down to the Gulf. You poison groundwater. And then you have the air poisoning Canada's really high population center. So we had discussed that earlier. So interesting like that. And then you had like, the little test that went on in Tucson, and then you got the Carolinas hit up. So it's like you're seeing things staged all around different parts of the country. It's like they're trying to figure out how they can get everything at once. And it definitely seems like a dress rehearsal. The movie JFK 1990 is a must watch. Ash, we'll get a quiz on it next Saturday. Am I going to get into teacher mode and do that? Right? I think my dad used to watch that movie. I'll have to ask him about it. Maybe we even have it. Tulsi would be better. I can't understand why Carrie Lake is still relevant. She must be of that bloodline and willing to toe the line, so they will continue to push her on us. Is she getting pushed on us, or is she just yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of her. Just like how I don't know what to make of this revival in Asbury. What do you think of that revival in Asbury, John? I find it very sus. But, but they would call me, and they're calling anybody who questions it a Pharisee. Great, a test next week. I know, you never thought you'd have to take a test again. Well, we're going to, fine, forget it. No test, we're going to cancel it because the test net will take care of the test. Missiles are very expensive. Claiming use is good for accounting, using government math, of course. So instead of it being a $400,000 missile, they're just going to add on an extra 2 zeros and then just leave it as an accident and then just let that government math and accounting work itself out. Yeah, too evenly spaced. Very interesting, right? And then it was like, oh, let's get Canada in the process. It just seemed, yeah. And it not fearful. I don't believe in living in fear, but it makes you very curious about what's coming, what's up ahead. What are they planning to do? How are they going to plan it? What is the plan, to hit us to hit us up and why. Because my dad, he brought up an interesting point, but he goes, why destroy the land? You know, if they want to take, if it's a planned invasion by, I don't know, hostile entities or the powers that be, why would they want to be destroying the land in the process? You know, wouldn't they want to just kill us off of it and then use it for themselves or move us off of it? So yeah, so it's very odd, unless they have a different place that they want to leave and that they want to live in, and they're just going to leave North America be. Weird. Hey, Torin. Hope you're having a nice evening, too. When there's no food, folks will listen. Yeah, and then it's going to be too late, because then they're going to be knocking on your door wondering why you're not dead yet. You don't look like you're starving. Give us your food. Yeah. And which makes me wonder, too, like, do you then become a target if people see a garden in your yard, if they see chickens in your yard? I guess, yeah, that's why it's good to get out of population centers. And no, I'm not completely giving into that, Brian, because, you know, my mindset is northeast, up north, if anywhere, push farther north. When you see an email titled not a dodgy link, just some, okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for the heads up, because because something like that would potentially overlook, thinking it's something else. I want the revival to be real, but I agree, it seems strange. Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, I know that people do come to Christ good, you know, through fake revivals. Good things can happen through fake revivals, but there's a lot of things not adding up with this. Ashley, I predicted it germane to the eternal pendulum of dualism. Mine. It's been blue. I don't know what that means. For so long, I warned that there will be a swing toward conservative orthodoxy. Archaics agrees. Yeah, well, I guess, yeah, that's that back and forth. We were actually discussed that before, that back and forth throughout history. Also applies to fashion too, right? The pendulum of the hemlines of what's in and what's not. But the thing is, when this pendulum swings, it's not going to be a simple switch over. It's going to be, it's going to be, I think, disastrous, because people won't let go of their worldviews and their perversions or whatever it may be. People will go kicking and screaming, and especially now that people have been so brainwashed. So definitely not a smoothly swinging pendulum. Never held a political position, business owner, military lawyer, or anything, but read a teleprompter. She's vice president material. Who? Which person? Are we talking Carrie Lake? Destroy the land to move us off of it into the city. Oh, okay. Like the 15-minute cities. You know what? I have to revisit. I need to revisit. Glenn Beck wrote a really wild book. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the greatest. It's not the greatest piece of writing. It reads like a piece of YA, but it was very interesting at the time. I read it back in, I don't know, right after it came out. But you start to see certain aspects of it coming true. But Glenn Beck has this book, Agenda 21. I think it's worth the read. There's going to be a shift to hyper-conservative, super judgmental Christianity. It's going to justify the next Inquisition and pogroms. Interesting. Okay, so I see what you're going. Yeah, that our world always swings to the extremes. Got it. Sorry, it took me a second. So no revival is ever perfect. Its true mark as revival can only be fully judged afterwards via changing culture, by changed lives for Christ. Movements of the Holy Spirit are powerful, though. Yeah, I just, what throws me off about it is some of the reports you're hearing, like some of the people who are promoting it are just kind of sketchy people. There's a lot of sketchiness happening, and there's a certain tolerance that's happening that doesn't seem to be coming with repentance. I'm trying to find a nice way to say it. Like there's a certain tolerance of sin that seems to be happening there. And you would expect that if it was a true revival, wouldn't there be a repentance from it instead of just soaking in that identity of it? You know what I mean? It's just odd. And I've heard that there's very little preaching of the gospel actually happening. And I don't know. yeah, I hear some sketchy things coming out of it, and no, I agree with you. Like, we won't know until after the fact. And I mean, I don't want to be talking bad about it if it is real. If it is real, then that's fantastic. It's just I just, it's hard when you hear certain things and you're like, I don't know, man. Is this for show? Like, I think they heard that they had banned Tucker Carlson from going, and I'm like, well, shouldn't something like this be open to all? Um, it's yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I hope it's real, but even if it's not, we people can still come to faith through a fake revival. So I hope that does happen. I hope hearts are changed. Hearts are changed. Did I say parts? They're transhumanists. They don't need clean air. I can't speak, and clean water. And if they do go to their paradise is 7 miles underground. Yeah, they're dumbs, right? The deep underground military bases. Um, yeah, but I mean, they seem to be like environmental worshipers. Like, the Gaia is their god. A lot of these, or at least that's the way they present. So that's why I can't understand the destruction that's happening. But I see what you mean. If they're transhumanists, then it don't matter. Oh, the Carrie Lake thing just smells funny to you. You're usually correct. Yeah, like honestly, she kind of just has fallen off my radar. Initially, she was interesting, but I'm like, I kind of forgot about her. Um, but yeah, no, that completely makes sense what you're saying about her. Yeah, I get it now. Hex love. Hi, I love your perspective. You're so great. It's nice to watch your videos zoomed in with only your head in the frame. Thank you. I appreciate it. I like being a little bit away from the camera, but thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Um, yeah, yeah, I avoid those extra close-ups. I think most actors run from those close-ups. Um, Glenn Beck is always worth the read. Audible for the win. I have really gotten into audiobooks. Uh, Bobby Axelrod got me into them. And it's great because I'm able to finish so much more than I would typically finish book-wise per year. Because it's like you make use of your time. Like my acting teacher has this saying, like, use your empty spaces, use the empty spaces of your life. And I guess empty spaces, one of them for me would be a car ride, where if I did want to listen to something, I would put on music. And now I'm like just so bored and disinterested in music. And then it's like, ugh, and a lot of it is so toxic. All that time that I would have spent listening to music, now it's like I'm learning and great things and finishing so many more books that way. But yeah, no, I can't listen to music the same way anymore. But yes, guys, go check out Glenn Beck's Agenda 21. Destroy the land to control the food supply. Now you'll eat petri dish, faux meat, and bugs. Oh, and wouldn't they love that too? That chitin they want us to eat because it's pretty bad for you. Humans can't digest chitin. Repentance truly is key. I am not who I was at all, but I do understand there are a ton of so-called Christians out there giving a terrible name, but Jesus remains the same. Amen. Yeah, no, I was pondering that today. I'm like, wow, it's always interesting that and I find this more so in progressive Christianity, but I know progressive Christians that all the time want to be like, I'm not one of those Christians. I'm not one of these, no, I'm all about the love. I'm this, I'm that. Even though they claim to be evangelical, you could tell that they're like, that they're woke, that they buy into progressivism. And I'm like, you can just tell it's always the Christians like that who want to just really disconnect themselves. Oh, no, I'm not that kind of Christian. I'm all about the love. Oh, I believe in love. Do everything in love. The ones, it's almost like they're hiding something by talking about, I'm so loving, I'm so loving, I'm so, it's like your actions should show that. You shouldn't have to say that all the time. To me, it means that you're like hiding something. You're making up for something. And it usually proves to be true. They usually tend to be the most hateful of the Christians that I know. It's always the progressives, isn't it? That tend to be the most hateful. New Christian fiction novel series by your friend and pastor Adlai E. Mack, King Titan. Oh, thank you. I've never really read much Christian fiction, but now, especially that I'm listening to more things, I'd be interested to check out some Christian fiction. Thank you for the suggestion. And I always wonder, I'm like, does certain Christian fiction cross the line? So I trust your judgment. So, and that he's one of your friends. So thank you for that recommendation and that suggestion. Did you see the David Paulides interview this week with retired FBI agent? Super interesting. No, I didn't, but I did catch him talking about missing 411, the one about alien abductions on Blurry Creatures, and that was pretty cool. But I haven't had a chance to check out his other stuff yet. Ranch dip. Did I miss the joke here? Not to derail, but what's going on with Texan token? Oh, it's up 16%. Oh, nice. That's awesome. I'll have to congratulate them. That's what's up with Texan. 20% by tomorrow. Hart's Law. Cool. Huh. I wish I was able to get in more. I think I got like that free airdrop that's coming with Pulse, but I didn't have any what do they call it, loose powder at the time, so I missed out. But I'm so glad. I guess you could still buy it too, but yeah, not that no. I mean, yeah, I like what they're doing. I just oh, okay, I had 20 different things to say at once. I'm trying to decide what to say. I can't. Yeah, I have been unable to buy anything for a while, but I definitely want to look into what's going on with that. But I'm so glad I got the that free Pulse airdrop. But I like what's going on with Texan token. I just, like I said, my struggle is I don't think anyone's going to be able to succeed. I feel like it's an illusion of freedom that we get in this country, but they're going to squash it. The powers that be, anybody who tries to step out of line and tries to be that, and tries to do it. I mean, you know what? Texas seems like the most obvious choice for a secession, but yeah, I think that I don't think the powers that be will allow it to happen. Because though, what would be amazing if certain states flip, but split. Like if you split California into 3 different states because they are so culturally different and voting different from each other, but they would never do that because they would lose it being a blue state, and then the other 1 or 2 would turn into a red state. Man, New York needs to split. That would be amazing. But again, and they'll lose that blue state status. Hey, Alan. Good to catch you live. Yeah, well, I am happy to see you here live. Thank you for being here. Texan heard Ash say that Texas can't secede, making a point. Listen, if it happens, I am happy for them, but you know what I mean? We live under such evil people running this nation. They will not allow it to happen. That's even though technically we're allowed to in our Constitution, I'm like, they're going to squash it. Hey, stranger, I'm streaming here in 10 minutes. If you want to continue this conversation over my show, you're more than welcome. Besides, you owe me an interview. Yo, we got to set up an interview. I am fading. I feel like I'm hardly forming sentences. So I'm going to have to jump off of this very soon. I don't think I can stay up any longer. But hopefully, everyone who's here, if you want to hop into Thoughts Child, I'm sure it's going to be a blast. It's always interesting. I was going to make a joke. Remember, language warning. I'm sure. Yeah. There's a language warning. We speak a little differently, but always a good time over in Thoughts Child stream. But yeah, we'll set something up soon. Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you. I appreciate that. I'm sorry. Was I looking all sad and pathetic? But I guess I just want to be transparent with, since we're all pretty open about what our investments are, I don't want people to think I'm crapping on anything or pushing anything. Pretty much for me, I'm just all in on RH products, and I don't have that that loose powder, spare powder, whatever the saying is, to kind of experiment elsewhere. But if I were to experiment elsewhere, yeah, Texas coin or Texan token would be one of them. So thank you, Thoughts Child. What would be another one? Liquid loans. I'm very fascinated by liquid loans. I love that they're giving this ability on Pulse to be able to borrow against your Pulse and not have to cash out. So I mean, that's an awesome way to preserve the price point. So like those are my two that I'm pretty interested in. I don't know enough about everything else. So I pretty much just stay in my little lane. I play it safe. Overwhelming amount of tokens to choose from invest right now. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's too much. So I play it safe. And also because like what? If I have 20 bucks to throw into something, for the most part, yes, I understand if something really took off, it would be a good investment, but you know, after gas fees and everything, it really doesn't make a difference. So but yeah. But one day I'd like to play around again. I did that back during my earlier days of crypto. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun discovering and figuring out all this stuff. But yeah, but it kind of settled. I like that RH products are like the safe place, you know, the safe space, the safe bet. The success of that token does not depend upon their independence. The cope is dope and designed to plug and play. Oh no, I did figure that, you know, that it doesn't have anything to do with it. Yeah. I mean, I know that it supports it in some way, kind of like a charitable token, but no, that it does its own thing. No, I'm aware. I'm just saying as a whole, unfortunately, I don't think secession is a real thing. It's sad, but I guess it is what it is. Oh, thank you, David Gomez. Yeah. So to anybody watching, yeah, if you hit the like, if you hit the subscribe, if you're new. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place. I'm fading. And for anybody that's new, so excuse my chair squeaking, Brian, that is his favorite thing about this, isn't it, Brian? Yeah. But shoot, man. But what a week we've had. I just can't get over that things like it surprises me. It should not surprise me, but I'm constantly surprised by the fact that things devolve so fast that we like exponentially heading into insanity and into chaos. And I guess it's like, isn't there a saying, agents of chaos? These people like thrive off of chaos. They want to make chaos, and that it feeds into like that they harvest off of like fear, that they harvest our interests. Like, isn't there a type of even magic, the more attention you pay to it, it kind of gives it more power. So I feel like regardless of whether this is like an alien thing, a UFO thing, whether it's real, whether it's fake, they want the attention. They want us all talking about it. They want us, besides the fact that it's a distraction, they you know, I do think energy and attention, I'm starting to realize, you know, where you put your focus, they somehow do feed off of it. They do harvest it, you know, in this spiritual way. And it's interesting because I like that we pointed out, I like that we talk about this stuff. Not just here, just in general, that we're, you know, pointing out hypocrisy, that we're pointing out BS. But I'm like, does this give them more power? You know, us feeding into this, us paying our attention to them. It's really this catch 22. I mean, you know, like, am I helping the CCP by talking about it on TikTok? But that we're human, you know, we need to be in community, we need to be bouncing these ideas off each other. So you know, it was nice to bounce these things back and forth with you guys, because I know we're on the same page, you know, with a lot of it. We all come from very similar perspectives, and it was funny because back when we had the spy balloon thing, when the spy balloon drama happened, it seemed completely wild and just off the wall, and like, is this something else? Is this actually a satellite? Is this China? Whatever it may be. And it just seemed crazy enough. And then it's like, all right, done. And then we just come into more insanity. And I just don't think it's going to stop. I think we're just going to get more chaos, especially now as our food supply seems to be collapsing because now it's completely contaminated. I would start your seeds right now, and watch where you eat, watch where your food is coming from, because this seems like an intentional destruction of our food supply. Besides the fact that, like, we've had all those processing plants. Okay, you don't want to eat processed foods anyway, but a lot of people do rely on that. We've had all those things burned down. We had that chicken factory burned down. We're getting into what seems like constant intentional attacks on our food supply. And we see some of it now when we walk into the stores, but we're going to start seeing a lot more of it. So I would start your seeds. Get your greenhouses, get your chickens, do what you have to do. And I know a lot of people like to say, well, you put all this money and work into it for like what, a $3 tomato. Okay. But as you learn, things get better. You can make your things more productive, but it also just becomes, it becomes a stand. You're taking a stand against this. You're saying, we know your game and we're going to try to do something about it. And unfortunately, I think this airborne toxic event was a way to poison everything besides hurting, our industrial, our commercial food supply. It's a way to kind of like think about all those people in Ohio. It's a way of, who might have their own small homesteads. It's a way of destroying their homesteads. It's a way of destroying their water supply. So we are getting into crazy times, I guess I want to say. Times are always crazy. They're just getting into more dangerous times. I don't know what way to word it, but whatever it is what it is. I'm not trying to worry anybody. I think it's just good to be aware, but it is what it is. We're just going to roll with it and do what we can. Sorry, I'm really behind on the comments now. Let me catch up. Where was I at? Sorry, I was ranting. The powers that be don't care. It'll still be a territory like Puerto Rico. They pay taxes and they'll have to support themselves. Handed the dirty end of the stick every time. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. Ooh, from Maddie Allen. Thank you so much, Maddie, for sending everybody over. That's why my numbers went up. I'm like, why are my numbers up all of a sudden? Oh, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. If anyone wants to drop anything into the wallet, there's my donation address. Thank you. Oh, and thank you, David Gomez. Yeah, so thank you to everybody who just popped in from Maddie Allen. If you guys want to give me a like and sub, I would really love that. I hope you guys had a good stream with Maddie Allen. I think Thoughts Child is about to stream next. So I'm just going to finish up this live chat and then I'm going to hop off because I got to be up early tomorrow. Oh, here's the clip from JFK movie. I'm going to save this for next week. Thank you. Hey, Hooperman. Oh, Maddie Raid. I love this. See, I was so behind. I missed the raid, but I saw my numbers stayed up. So thank you guys for staying. I talked honestly about everything related to Texan. I said, there's no way those people are just like the fifth largest. Yeah, exactly. There you go. I'm with you on that. Oh, Maddie says hello. I'm going to say hello back to Maddie. Sorry, I missed that. Oh, thank you, Brian. That's so nice of you. Thank you. You're always so kind and generous. Yeah, cheers to all the Maddie Raiders. I love this. I am so sorry, guys. My rant kept going. I missed all you guys. You're going to charge 25 cents per curse. Yeah, and then invest it into Texan. There you go. Thanks for not having a distracting nose ring. Why? Who has a distracting nose ring? No nose ring here. I don't like the hole that it leaves behind with people's noses. Oh, I got to thank Maddie. That was nice. I don't know. I think Liquid Loan's got a good thing going. Oh, thank you, Bran. It's been a while. Nice to see you. Thanks for being back here, coming back here. Rough Raiders. Love this. Thank you, guys. Anon, I made the video for you to make your own. Did I miss something? Tap that like. Thank you, Tin Top. Get your point. Texas can technically, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're not gonna let those people off easy. Just eat the bugs. Yeah, exactly. Shellfish from the ocean. They're just ocean bugs. By the way, I would avoid that too. Not too good for you. Eat the bugs. Oh, okay. There. Oh, I was confused. I'm like, who's Anon? Okay, there we go. Forgot that you had Anon right at the front of your name. fresh water will be our, yeah. We certainly see that they're going after that because if you can be off the grid, you can have your garden, you can have this, you can have that, you can be sustainable in every way that you can, off the grid in every way you can. But man, if your water's poisoned, what are you going to do? Yeah, filters will only go so far, and eventually what if you can't replace them? So you poison the groundwater, then your streams are contaminated, everything's contaminated, your well, your reservoirs, whatever it may be. Okay, let's collect rainwater. Well, there's an airborne toxic event that just poisoned the atmosphere. So you see how they're hitting it from both angles. So that's something that makes me really, really think that it's intentional. Because I was thinking about that. I'm like, there's no escape when something like that happens, when the water is completely poisoned. Crazy. Where is Brand's wrench? Oh, I'll have to give him a wrench. So, all right, guys. Well, you all have a good night. Thank you for the raid. Thank you, Maddie, for your raid. Oh, and by the way, the Amazon affiliate links. So I saw that you guys started using it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's like a free way to. I appreciate all donations, and even if you nobody's gotta, but if you shop in Amazon anyway, if you use one of those affiliate links, you don't have to buy what's in the link, but you buy something else, it sends me a commission. So those have already started rolling in, and I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. Live streams remain uncontaminated. There you go. So far, unless this is contaminated now. No, but I was thinking about like, what do you do when your water's contaminated? Because if you're watering plants, if you're watering a farm, does the plant uptake that toxin? I'm sure some can filter it, but are some uptaking it? I should know this, but I don't. Because it's interesting, because when they talk about bioaccumulation, when you major in bio, they talk about it in animals, but we never were taught bioaccumulation in plants. Is that intentional? But now I'm wondering, I'll have to look up bioaccumulation in plants. Like, are they filtering it out? So it doesn't matter if your water's contaminated and you're feeding it to the plants. Oh, but then it could kill it. Who knows? Oh, well, thank you, Torin. Filter the water with ceramic filters. But what happens when the ceramic is at capacity? Like, you know what I mean? Like, a filter usually gets clogged and full. So what happens? Like, how do you replace it? Can you make yourself a ceramic filter? Can you clean it out and reuse it? Like, that's my concern. If they make filters hard to get, like, how do you get the replacements for this? Oh, I'm sorry, and I breezed over that. I was just like, thank you, and then I moved on because I got distracted by the ceramic filters. But thank you, Torn, for the compliment, and thank you for being back here tonight. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, so ceramic filters, at least for what you drink. Learn to distill your water. Oh yeah, at least for on a smaller scale for humans. Yeah, I understand the filtration. I just don't know about the bioaccumulation for plants, whether that's going to be an issue or not. And even if it's not, even if they're filtering it, I guess if the water is toxic enough, it'll kill your plants. So it was once on a farm. It was interesting. Speaking of different water collection means, she had a stream on the property, this farmer, that led off into a pond. So instead of using her well or whatever to water the pond, she had a gas powered pump pumping out of the stream and then pumping out of the pond, and the pond would replenish every night. And she was watering her vegetables with the pond water, which is interesting because you also get like a great amount of nutrients and minerals coming out of that too. But yeah, but what happens if that's contaminated? Well, thank you for being here. I'm glad you were able to make it tonight. Can distill with simple items and sunlight. Oh yeah, it's true. I forgot the sun. Yeah, that is a natural disinfectant. 50,000 is that yeah, 50,000 liter filter for a pocket filter. Higher amounts, no chance. Yeah, so that's what I'm concerned about, the higher amounts running a farm. And bourbon is charcoal filtered. No, that sounds like a bad combination with me. You already see how I am normally with just water. Let's not add any substances to the mix. Um, oh, well, have fun playing Valorant. I don't know what it is, but it sounds fun. I was just thinking, I want to play Xbox sometime. I never use it. I want to get back to it. Then I should just Twitch stream it and then just talk aliens the whole time while I'm playing Alien Isolation. I don't know how the Twitch stuff works. Being busy, usually lurking and working on something else. Well, thank you for lurking. Thank you. Distillation also costs a lot of time and energy. That's the thing, like it's such small batches usually it's done in. So that's the only thing that makes me hesitant about distilling. But yeah, if you have no other choice, then it works. But if you're trying to distill for a whole family, that becomes a bit of a challenge. Yeah, distillation methods, man. We got a lot to think about. A lot of ways to be prepared. Do we want to take ourselves out of population centers? What's going on? I would love to push farther and disappear into the Northeast. Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard to relocate. What that should be right, playing games talking about aliens and Enoch, right? Well, because here's the thing, I used to love playing video games, but like sometimes once you get out of the habit, then you're out of the habit. But also on top of that, like it kind of would become depressing just sitting alone playing a video game with your thoughts. And it would just, I don't know, just get this like depressing feel from it. And I was wondering today, I'm like, is that because it was just like playing by yourself and being alone in your own thoughts, in whatever this creepy video game atmosphere is? So I'm like, would it be better? Would I enjoy it more if I'm just chatting with people at the same time I'm playing it? Would it motivate me to turn on the Xbox again? So yeah, I keep thinking about my Xbox lately. Glad you like aliens. Ashley got me as a friend now. Oh, thank you. So UFO to go. Were you part of the Maddie raid? No, or were you here before the raid? Curious how you found the channel. Well, thank you for being my friend. I won't sing you the Golden Girls song. Don't worry. Yeah, but and you know what? And let me just go back and say, and I'm sure a lot of you know this, but when I say that the whole government UFO narrative is BS, I don't believe all that UFO and alien stuff is BS. I believe it's very real and it's been happening since, since all of humankind's history. Yes. I just don't believe when the government wants to get into the whole business of aliens and pushing aliens. Then I'm like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Get out of my territory. Yeah. Relocation is easier than you might think if your minder's right. No, it's yeah, it's true. It's just yeah, just other complications. But and it's hard. It's hard when you I don't know. Anyway, because I don't want to insult anybody that's living in the path of like this cloud, but you look at this all these airborne toxic events happening, you're like, well, where is the safe place to go anyway? It's like everywhere is just constantly being targeted. They're gonna get every corner of everywhere that they can. So that's my thing. I'm like, where do you even go past the point? The process kind of sucks, but if the end goal is worth it, then it's absolutely doable. Yeah. No, I hear ya. It's just, on top of that, even if somebody did want to do that, again, it's just like around here, you see that they're going to hit us from every part of the country that they can. So it's like, where is the proper place to go? At the moment, I still feel like the Northeast is the place. Because for the most part, we're out of a lot of us Northeasterners. We're out of the path of this toxic event. Anyway, oh, you're doing it right now. So you going someplace more rural? Are you pushing inward? I'm curious. Unless you can't disclose it, then I understand. But I'm intrigued because we kind of have a certain way of relocating around here, but I'm curious what it is on your side of the world. Are you doing an entire country? Or are you getting out of your population centers? because that's one of the intriguing things about Australia is that so much of Australia is packed into those population centers, kind of like Canada is. Um, so I'm intrigued about what this Australian process might be like. Okay. Ooh, so warmer. So you'll get away from any inclement winter weather. Is that it? It's a semi-rural, so I'm thinking about some of those northern areas. Okay. So, because as an American, when I think of north of Australia, I think of a lot of desert and less people and less cities, right? Because are the cities mostly just situated on the east and west coast? Okay, so this is interesting. I'm intrigued by this move. And in Australia, this is my other question: is most of the movement towards the south? Do people want to go into the cooler areas? Like, because in the United States, a lot of people want to go south because they want to be warm. They don't want to deal with our winters up here in the Northeast. So a lot of people go down to Florida. So I'm curious, in Australia, are more, are people doing that? Are people wanting to go north toward the warm? Is like, what is the general consensus? What do people do? The island of Vanuatu, I'm really bad at that pronunciation, allows paid citizenship and tax-free on crypto earnings. It's worth looking into having 2 passports. It's next door to Australia where I live. Oh, okay, so you're also in Australia too. Very cool. Oh, so I wonder if so because it's tax-free on crypto earnings, have a lot of crypto people already moved there? It's interesting. But see, the thing with a lot of those smaller islands, because I know this is an issue in Hawaii, is that a lot of these islands, even though back in the day they used to have their own agriculture, but now they rely so much on importing things. Like, is that going to be an issue? If there's a societal breakdown, can these islands sustain themselves? Well, I do like steak, but stranger danger. Okay, Vanuatu. Okay. I was confused because I was like, I don't remember it ending in an A. Is this a different place? So anyway, but I hope I'm not too much in your Australian business, Clintrons. I just don't know. I was curious about what the general consensus is. I'm trying to think. There was a song I heard about it, an Australian song about moving. I used to think the North was the end because people go up there and they don't come back again. Okay. So I like that. I'm curious now. I'm curious about this. But thank you for sharing with us. Anyway, have a good night. I'm sorry for quoting Case Chambers. Yeah, thank you guys for being here, and thank you, Torn, for coming. I'm sorry about all my false leaving where I almost leave and then I get sucked back in. Really nice chatting with you guys and discussing all our insanity and deception over this week. I think L.A. Marzulli was talking this week about that this is the Great Deception. He believes that the Great Deception spoken about in the end times, if you believe we're in the end times now, that it's the UFO thing. So interesting times to be living in. Definitely a lot of deception happening. Hexaco for the win. Yes, man. 6 cents. Did we hit the 6 cent mark yet? No, I think I probably would have saw a big celebration in the oh, that's a shadow on my head. A big celebration in the comments had that happened. But yeah, let's hope we hit the 6 cent mark. Nice meeting you too, UFO to go. I like, you know what, that would make a good name of a good takeaway place, right? UFO to go. I'm like, what would they serve? I know when I go to the alien fair, I had this thing on a stick. They called them UFOs. It was like a potato that was spiraled and fried like a chip, and they put it on an American chip, so crisp, and they put it on a stick. So UFO to go. I like it. Yes, enjoy that pump. Make the best of it. No, make the best of it would insinuate cashing out. No. Let's let it keep going. Okay, all right. So we're still close. That's good. It's the end times of the bear market, hopefully. But I'm like, I feel like we got off too easy. I'm like, it's in a bear market usually longer. I don't know, but at least we're close to that 6 mark. We bounced off 6 cents over an hour ago, something like that. Okay, so we did just okay. Alrighty, guys. You all have a good night. Hey, I'll see you soon. All right. Don't let the aliens bite, and don't fall for fake missiles hitting hexagonal fake aliens. Have a good night, guys. Thank you again. Bye.